Hello and welcome back to the channel. So before starting the concept, I would like to ask two questions which comes in my mind. So the first is how have you ever wondered how children think and why a 4-year-old thinks differently from 10-year-old child? So today we are talking about the man who answered these two questions. That is Jean Piaget. So, moving further, let's talk a little bit about Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget wasn't just a psychologist, he was a child watcher, a thinker, and what we can say, a game changer. Okay, in where? Game changer where? In education. Okay, so these were the features. Now let's talk about Jean Piaget. He was the father of developmental psychology. So we can write father of developmental psychology. Then इनका बर्थ ईयर एंड डेथ ईयर लिखेंगे 1896 to 1980. Okay, then they talked about children, how children learn. They learn by doing. So what comes under this? Exploring and experimenting. Then children actively construct knowledge. So through interaction with their environment, the children, they actively construct their knowledge by exploring or experimenting. So the major focus was that it is child centered. Okay, and then he believed one powerful thing, that is children are not empty vessels. ठीक है, like अगर कोई बच्चा है तो वो एक खाली, उसका ऐसा नहीं है कि उसका दिमाग खाली है. They don't just absorb information, they construct knowledge on their own, right? So the core idea was, according to Piaget, children learn by exploring, touching, questioning, experimenting. With whom? With their environment. So basically learning is active, not passive, right? Then moving ahead, let me change the ink. Moving ahead, there are some few key concepts in Piaget's theory. Okay, wait. Key concepts in Piaget's theory. What were the key concepts? He introduced the idea of schemas. The first key concept is introduce the idea of schemas. Schemas क्या होता है? Think of schemas as mental folders in a child's brain. So we can say mental folders in a child's brain, right? So we can say mental frameworks, है ना? Mental folders की जगह we can also say mental frameworks or structure. ठीक है, to organize knowledge. For example, a child's idea of what a dog is. So when a child sees a dog and calls every animal a dog, that's a schema at work, right? We can say that schema at work. Then second one is assimilation. Assimilation is, let me just write. Assimilation means adding what? New information to an already existing schema. Example, calling a cow a dog, right? So अब कोई भी न्यू इन्फॉर्मेशन को ऐड करना अपने स्कीमा में इज कॉल्ड assimilation, when new information fits into an old schema. Then third is accommodation. Accommodation is changing an existing schema to fit new information. Okay, so we can say that when the schema changes to fit new information, we can say it accommodation. For example, learning that cows and dogs are different animals is what accommodation means, right? Is what accommodation says. Then the fourth and the last key concepts is equilibrium, or we can say equilibration. Okay, so here we can say that it's a balance between assimilation and accommodation. Okay, then the balance equilibration basically means the balance between the two. Okay, so let me just recapitulate it. So the first key concept is schemas. Schemas means mental folders in a child's brain, which is already a framework which structures or organize the knowledge. For example, a child's idea of what a dog is, right? So then comes assimilation. Assimilation means adding a new information to the existing schemas. So the concept of dog is already there in the mind, but calling a cow a dog means the clarification is not there, but the information is present in the mind. Then what comes next is accommodation, changing an existing schema to fit new information, which means learning that cows and dogs, they both are different animals. Okay, then comes equilibration, which means when we balance both assimilation and accommodation. So equilibration is basically the key to learning. So these were the four key concepts in Piaget's theory. Moving ahead, we have Piaget's 4 stages of development. Let me just change the color of the pen. Piaget's 4 stages of cognitive development, right? I hope it is visible. Let's just change the color. First stage is, we call it sensory motor stage. Sensory motor stage starts from birth to 2 years, right? So usually what is written as 0 to 2 years. Like, what is 0 here? What is 0? So we write birth to 2 years. So in this sensory motor stage, learning happens through senses and movements. Okay, so we can write that learning through senses and movements, and the key achievement is object permanence, which means understanding that objects exist even when not seen, right? So we can say that in this, babies learn through senses and movement, and the big achievement here is object permanence, which means knowing that things exist even when they can't be seen. Moving ahead, the second stage is pre-operational stage. Here the age criteria is 0 to 7 years, right? 0 to 2 to 7 years. So here comes the development of language and imagination. So you can say development of language and imagination. Okay, thinking is egocentric. Here thinking is egocentric, which means, so egocentric is a keyword, so which means child sees the world only from their own perspective, right? So moving ahead, we have difficulty with conservation. इसमें हमारा conservation concept में थोड़ा सा difficulty आ जाता है. Difficulty with conservation is also a keyword, so we can say conservation में क्या क्या आ जाता है हमारा quantity, second हमारा number, then volume. So we can say that this is the world of imagination and language. Okay, then but the thinking is still egocentric. थिंकिंग हमारी egocentric होती है, बच्चा अपने ही पर्सपेक्टिव से पूरे वर्ल्ड को देखता है, एंड चिल्ड्रन सीज द वर्ल्ड, ठीक है, ओके. देन उसमें कंजर्वेशन में हमारी थोड़ी डिफ़िकल्टी होती है, वेयर कंजर्वेशन में आता है हमारा क्वांटिटी, नंबर एंड वॉल्यूम. देन वी हैव स्टेज 3, दैट इज कॉन्क्रीट ऑपरेशनल स्टेज. concrete operational stage, and the age is 7 to 11 years, right? So इधर हमारा आ जाता है लॉजिकल थिंकिंग. ओके, तो लॉजिकल थिंकिंग, देन लॉजिकल थिंकिंग अबाउट concrete ऑब्जेक्ट्स, राइट. सेकेंड हमारा आता है इसमें अंडरस्टैंड्स, क्या क्या समझ जाएगा वो, कंजर्वेशन, कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ कंजर्वेशन, क्लासिफिकेशन, सीरिएशन. सीरिएशन बेसिकली मीन्स ऑर्डर में लगाना, ordering, right? So in this we can say that logic enters the picture. Children understand conservation, classification, and this ordering, but only with real or concrete objects. So we can say only with real and concrete objects. अभी यहाँ पर भी abstract thinking is not developed yet. Then comes the fourth stage. fourth stage is formal operational stage. Formal operation stage is 11 plus years or 11 above, right? So here here what develops is abstract thinking and hypothetical thinking. ठीक है, then we have this can reason logically. ठीक है, तो लॉजिकल थिंकिंग आ जाता है. सॉल्व कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम. ठीक है, देन डेवलप साइंटिफिक थिंकिंग. Right, so here we welcome the abstract and hypothetical thinking, whereas adolescents can think logically, hypothetically, and even like a scientist. ठीक है, then moving ahead, so it's a general questions like what are the impact of this theory on education. So we can say that Piaget changed classrooms forever. For example, he taught us that teaching must match the child's developmental level, right? Learning should be hands-on. Discovery is better than memorization. So he focused on the exploration and experimental learning, where the child plays an active role in the learning process. So Jean Piaget didn't just study children, he helped the world understand how children think. So these two concepts of him has changed the education. And thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please kindly like, share and subscribe for more concepts like that. And thank you.